The Silver Eyes, a trait passed down through generations of legendary warriors. A trait which hard counters the Grim entirely. A useful ability to be sure, especially in a war against Salem. So why hasn't Ozpin talked to RWBY about them or trained her how to use them? Well, for that, I bring you today's theory. Perhaps learning how to harness the Silver Eyes is actually a difficult task. So difficult that we don't even know if any previous Silver-Eyed warriors even managed to master them. If any character comes to mind on how to teach RWBY how to use the gift though, that character is not Ozpin, it's Summer Rose herself, the only other named character we know of to have possessed the rare Silver Eye trait, and of course RWBY's mother. It's fitting that Summer would be the one to teach RWBY. However, that brings a problem, of course, as Summer Rose is no longer with us. So how exactly can RWBY learn how to use the Silver Eyes if the only character who is able to teach her is deceased? And really quick, for the record, I've made theories that discuss the likelihood of Summer still being alive, but for this theory, we'll go with her being deceased. So, Ozpin certainly isn't up to the task. Although he knows a great deal of how the world works, he has never harnessed the Silver Eyes himself as he doesn't have them. So RWBY should learn from someone else, someone who actually does possess the Silver Eyes. This fact makes me start to realize why Ozpin isn't teaching RWBY, because he isn't qualified, and the only other way he knows how to teach her is going to be a very painful process for RWBY. Let me explain. Do you remember the theories that Ozpin has some sort of manipulation over time? Those theories, in summary, stem from the speed feats that Oz displayed fighting Cinder, his age, and the overall cogwheel motif that he has around him. Now, I'm not exactly the biggest fan of those theories, to be honest, but they do tie in perfectly to this theory. So, what do I mean? Well, here's the bulk of the theory I present to you in this video. Ozpin does indeed have a way of teaching RWBY how to use her Silver Eyes, but he won't be the one teaching her. That person will be Summer Rose, and the only way for that to be possible is through Ozpin's manipulation of time to send RWBY back into the past, albeit very temporarily. There, RWBY can learn from Summer Rose herself how to use the Silver Eyes. Now, of course, this will be a very difficult thing for RWBY, as she'll finally get to see her mother again after all this time. It will also be difficult for Summer Rose in that temporary, whatever you want to call it, as well. So perhaps Ozpin feels bad for both parties, Summer and also RWBY. Also, due to Ozpin's current state, which is far weaker than he used to be, I can reasonably assume that he wouldn't be able to sustain RWBY being in the past world for very long. So the time spent there would have to really focus entirely on RWBY learning the Silver Eyes from Summer and not really having any mother-daughter reunion, so to speak. It's the only way, and that's why Ozpin hasn't even wanted to bring the topic up yet, let alone proceeding with this plan, not until RWBY is mentally ready for such an emotional reunion. And that's why Ozpin doesn't ever bring the Silver Eyes up right now. He knows that RWBY isn't ready for what he has to tell her about them, so even though the Silver Eyes will be an invaluable ability in the war against Salem, Oz knows that it's simply something that must be avoided until RWBY is ready for such training. So for now, the focus needs to be on getting RWBY emotionally and possibly also physically more ready to learn how to harness that powerful gift. If you enjoyed this video, remember to subscribe and turn notifications on, and consider supporting my work on Patreon. I have a link down below. It helps me out a lot, and you get some cool perks as well. I will see you there.